What's up, everybody?
How you doing, everybody?
Welcome to day number 37 of the 66 Days of Prayer. Today we're going to talk about grief and loss and how to cope and how to comfort someone who may be dealing with grieving or how to get through the process, because it's something that we'll all at some point experience. And something that we don't think about until it happens, but at the same time, it's one of the most devastating feelings that you'll ever have. And so both Randall and I have gone through the grieving process, myself on more than one occasion. And so we just kind of want to share our experiences and, talk to those of you to give you some words of comfort who may have dealt with it, be dealing with it right now, or need some guidance as to how to get through such a difficult process. We don't have all the answers, but we're definitely willing to share our experiences in hopes that it will help you.
Back in high school, where was in the gym, and my brother came to me and told me that my grandfather passed away. That experience of losing my grandfather at that time was shocking. I want to say I was 15 years old. I was a sophomore in high school when that happened. I say my next loss I dealt with was my mom. That hit even closer, and it took me a while to get adjusted. I was thinking about home all the time, and I wanted to come home and visit her for Mother's Day, but she died a week before Mother's Day. I want to say around 2006, 2 years later, 2.5 years later. It's just something just came over me, and I was just stressed. I never really grieved. My mom died. Then, I lost my grandparents, like my grandmother, both sides of my family. Lost my grandmother on my mom and dad's side. Then eventually my aunt died around 2013, and I had my father who passed away last year. That kind of bugged me the most, because that was my last parent, and he was a scoutmaster. He was an entrepreneur. He worked for the city council in Grambling. Everybody knew who he was. I was a loving guy, but he also was a disciplinarian too. He treated me fair. He treated everybody at home fair as well. I wasn't like getting the proper treatment. I wasn't getting special treatment just because I was his son, So it's just the things that he did. Like, I learned a lot as far as like mowing the grass, carpentry, changing the tires and oil changes, riding my first bike, driving the car. When I heard about his death, my brother gave me a call. It was like around 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was in disbelief. Like, my whole psyche, my whole mindset just changed. Everything was going well. I just got a new job. Just sitting there and just want to get ready to start the new year. It's just, everything's just smooth. I knows when I visited him, as soon as I heard the news that he was sick, he wasn't the same as far as being physically able, Seeing him in the wheelchair was one of the things that struck me the most. My mind was all over the place, and that's when I decided to make a phone call for my therapist. When all that was done, I said, okay, this is going to be okay, but it's not okay. I just really haven't had a chance to just sit down and grieve. Wasn't focused on my job. I lost weight. And when I went through that period, I had to find God. I had to align myself with Him. Wow, like.
You miss him?
Yeah, it just happens. Same thing with my mom.
Was there any particular person that helped get you through?
I went and spoke with a friend of mine from my neighborhood. She told me that finding joy, and no matter what difficult situation you're in or what challenging situation you're going through, and And it's tough, but you gotta at least find that light and find that joy within that. Also found an adoptive mother. I want to talk about Reverend Howard and talk about a few things. And I'm just grateful that she adopted me and she checked in on me. Make sure I get up in the morning. Make sure she put me on the straight and narrow on a few things. I'm just grateful for her to be in my life. Of course, most importantly, we're going through therapy. Which is one particular subject that's taboo in the community, and I suggest that people who have been going through process similar to mine to go through therapy so they can make it through. Write down my thoughts on a lot of things that occurred in my life. What am I grateful for? Just think about where I want to go, envision it. Those are the things that help me make it through.
You find ways to manage and cope. And, people will tell you time heals all wounds. And there's some truth to that, but there's no avenue for healing if you don't go through the process. So time is just time if you don't take the time to grieve. Just like you said, you realized you hadn't gone through the grieving process. And kind of snapped out of it one day and was like, wow, there are emotions that you're not going to want to feel, but you're going to have to go through it. And it's a very lonely place, which is why I decided to do this topic, because there's so many people that have not grieved, and there's so many people who have not learned how to channel their grief in the right way, and it's killing them. So when I lost my mother, I realized the permanence of death and how she's never coming back. And I think that really struck me hard, because that security was gone. I was like, it was almost like if I needed to have a conversation, if I was completely devastated about something, I knew that I was going to be able to pick up that phone and make a phone call and call my mom.
Yeah.
And knowing that I can't make that phone call is probably the most difficult feeling to...
Yeah, it was one of the most difficult feelings, because I too had my father and my favorites on my phone. I felt some type of way going into the house, knowing that he wasn't going to be there. I kind of felt I expected somebody to be in the kitchen when I walked through the front door. He always walked me out the house, and I see him on the front porch, and I wave goodbye. Alright, so like I said, you drive off and you just remember that he's the one that was on the front porch waving goodbye. And that was pretty tough, dealing with that. And as time goes, it's going to get a little bit easier. You're going to have moments similar to me, similar to mine, where you may say some things, we may have a moment,
And it's okay to have a moment.
It's okay.
It's actually important that you do.
Yeah.
Because you have to let it out. It's not uncommon. I'm telling, I've cried in the car every day. It was the car or the shower. And there's just sometimes you don't know when it's gonna hit you, because grief is something that is organic. So we want to talk about how to get through the grieving process, and so Randall just shared with you what has helped him get through. Everyone's gonna be different. Everyone is going to grieve in their own way. That's just what we do. But my advice is just that you continue to check on those who need or who have gone through it, because like he said, unless you're subhuman, it's not something that you just get over. I know people who have lost their children, and I don't think that, like, I know what it feels like to lose not one but two parents. So imagine how it feels to lose your child. And I don't think there are words that can be said, but there's a lot to be said for your presence, and there's a lot to be said for your comfort, and there's a lot to be said for taking away a person's additional stress. So if you know someone who is going through that process, and they have things on their plate like we all do, pick their kids up from school, make dinner for them, or do something small to help alleviate the stress, because there's nothing like grieving and having a million other things to do when all you want to do is sometimes just be in your own space and in your own head. And sometimes it's not easy to do when you have responsibilities and life keeps happening and you got bills to pay and you have family to take care of. So my advice to you is to if they don't tell you directly, hey, I need this, because sometimes we won't, the pride kicks in. I'm guilty of that too. Sometimes it's, you could be too prideful to say, hey, I really need help doing this. Try to figure out where there is a need and step in any little way possible. So I hope this helped. It's not a lot, but it's just something that we wanted to open up dialogue about.
Yeah.
Thank you
for
allowing us to be vulnerable with you and opening up about our experiences. And we hope that this helps. And if you have anything you want to add, please feel free. You can send us an inbox or a hashtag with your information below. We'd be more than happy to talk with you or comfort you in whatever way that you feel like you need. So until the next episode, be great.
Be great.